This week on ETTO Sidequest, we talk about our gaming plans for the rest of 2023. Hey everybody, welcome back to ETTO Sidequest. I'm Josh.
I'm Ben.
And we're here to talk about games. A lot of games today. So many games. Many games. We have had Gamescom this week, and because I'm getting married in about a...
Well, when
when's
this
is going out?
You may
I
be
would
married.
be married now.
You're probably married.
I'm married, everyone. Crazy.
Yeah. It could
crazy
be
times.
the day of. It could be the day before. But basically, you're probably listening to this and Josh is married. But we're recording this a little bit beforehand.
Crazy times.
Yeah.
Yes. So, we're because we're banking a couple of episodes, we decided to basically just talk about for the second half of this year, what are we playing? What do we want to go back to? What are we looking forward to? There's some big obvious ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, we're just going to discuss them. There's a lot on your list that I'm like, I recall that name, but I have no idea what that is.
Totally. I think we're going to have some interesting ones. We're going to have some crossover. It's going to be great. When you said second half this year, I realized just earlier when I was compiling this list, not even second half this year, last third of this year.
Last third, yeah.
That's only 4 months.
I was being a bit optimistic on that one.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yes.
It's just, we've just already had such a stacked year, and it's crazy that it's coming to a close, but looking at our lists, there's still so much, Josh. There's still so much.
It's October. October is the killer. Or September, October.
Yeah, totally. Well, also, I just realized I forgot one. I'm adding it now. Oh wait, no, you've got yours in there. It's fine. So we'll talk about it anyway.
Great.
But September, October is insane, and it's not just because of the quantity of games, but also the scale of the games that are coming out in that period. That is just insane.
There's a lot of just big stuff, and it's going to take up everybody's time. All of it.
Literally,
all of everybody's time.
Literally everybody's time. And we're pretty time poor right now, Josh, aren't we? So it's
really
daunting.
are. I have a lot on my list. We both ended up being fairly equal in the end for what is on our list. But I'm sort of, my list is it's probably longer than what I can get to. There's definitely going to be stuff that's going to get pushed into next year.
Mine too.
But I'm feeling optimistic because I don't know what my free time will look like once I'm married and will not have to be traveling an hour each way to see my partner.
I think
and things
that's
like
totally
that.
fair.
Yeah,
of course.
So it's going to be I'm going to have to work out where my priorities are once that hits, and where my time is, how much free time I'm actually going to have.
Of course.
At that point in time. So
I suspect after the initial hubbub of it all, and moving a new person into the house and all that, I suspect you might find you actually have a bit more time than you previously did.
It should be cool.
Because I'm sure you will love your fiance to be wife, maybe wife when you're listening to this, but you come to a point where you need the space as well. So it'll be fascinating to see. Yeah,
definitely. I'm very excited to get into it.
Totally.
But before all of that, you're going to tell me all about Gamescom, because
I am.
I only know what I feel like I've taken in from Kinda Funny.
Yeah. I didn't even take in that much, I realized, until today. I just kind of knew it happened and went by, and loosely was listening to podcasts, Kinda Funny, a couple other ones. And I was like, oh, okay, a bunch of stuff got talked about. It just was white noise kind of going past. Before we jump right into the segment, we have to do the little sting, Josh. Because what's this segment called?
It's called the Bulletin Board.
Amazing.
We
did it.
I definitely didn't need to look at our notes for that.
We'll get there. We'll get used to it. We've only had a name for 2 of these podcasts, so we still got to get used to it. But Gamescom overall kind of came and went, was a bit meh overall. They had the opening night live thing, which was kind of the big Jeff Keighley launch event, which was often where a lot of announcements happen, but he kind of said in advance that there wasn't going to be really many announcements. It was more just going to be updates on existing games and stuff. And that's what it was. We'll talk about a few of them. And then, there's obviously a little bit more of a drip feed of news throughout the rest of Gamescom because it's a pretty big event. But I wouldn't say it was overly exciting, but I guess that's probably what Gamescom is at this point, especially with E3 not existing in the way it is and kind of the way games getting announced being just spread all over the year now. I feel like Gamescom, it's no longer that post E3 event that all the E3 stuff kind of like you release more information about. So
yeah, we have the other two events for that, I feel.
Yeah, totally.
I feel this doesn't need to be that.
Yeah.
Like we have Summer of Games where we get so many announcements of new things. Yeah. And we have the Game Awards where there's a bunch of announcements of new things as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like this can just exist as like
updates,
a celebration of games and upcoming things. Yeah.
Totally. And I think that's very much what Jeff Keighley has like shifted it towards. Before we get into the games, there was another stage invader at Gamescom opening night live.
I heard about this.
This person was ranting about GTA 6 and stuff. Part of me feels for Jeff Keighley because it must be frustrating, but then I'm also like, I don't know, this happened twice. We probably need to be stepping up the security at these events, especially because there's a lot of game developers in the room and stuff. And when this one happened in the show, it was right before Todd Howard came out, and you could tell Todd Howard was a little bit rattled at like the fact that had happened just before it came out. So yeah, we're in this interesting spot for that, where I think maybe we might see a bit more security at future events, or if it keeps happening, developers start withdrawing from these events because like it can't be a comfortable thing. And luckily, the two people that have done it, I think it was 2 Game Awards ago, and now this event. Luckily, those people weren't harmful, but like you obviously don't want it to get to that point where one of those people does do something bad. So
yeah, totally. What were they ranting about for GTA 6? What was their point?
I can't remember the exact. I can't really remember. It was just like mumbling into the microphone and saying something about GTA 6, maybe it not being out or something. I don't know. Pointless shit, like stuff we shouldn't really care about, if we're honest. But like, I don't want to give much more air to it, but I just thought it was worth mentioning because, you know, all these Keighley events exist now. He is in charge of the gaming announcements, so keep an eye out for that. And if that keeps happening, could be interesting. But anyway, that's not what we're here to mainly talk about, Josh. Here to talk about some games.
Tell me everything.
I compiled a relatively small list in the end. As I said, a lot of updates on existing games, and I tried to somewhat tailor it to games Josh was interested in, or like the few that I was particularly keen on, or ones I thought Josh might be keen on. So it may not be... There's plenty of announcements that came out of Gamescom. You can find your articles across the internet for the full exhaustive list. I've just kind of whittled it down to what I think we might be interested in and can talk about. So, without further ado, the first game we're going to talk about, which was announced very late in Gamescom, is called Billy Bust Up. And this is
I haven't seen anything about this yet.
Upcoming musical 3D platformer game.
Cool. And Humble Games, very good.
Humble Games,
start.
Yep. And Gippy Goat Games, great name for a developer.
Amazing.
But yeah, this is a musical-based 3D platformer. I was mainly drawn to it by the name, and then I was like, Josh likes musicals, so
yeah. So it's like musical, like it's like a stage production musical style thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
It reminds me a little bit of Sackboy's Big Adventure, which often had those musical-based stages, which were set to the rhythm of it. And we've got this cute little bunny character kind of just jumping around. But yeah, pretty simple trailer. I just thought this looked cute. It's called Billy Bust Up. And I think, just to double check, it's coming out on just Steam at the moment. Next up, we have a release date announcement for Hellboy Web of Word, which we've heard about a couple times now. This looks great.
Forgetting this is coming out there.
Yeah. This is a roguelike action-adventure game. And it is based on the Dark Horse comic. And it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, very cool. Great, like cell shaded.
Yeah, cell shaded aesthetic, very good.
It's got like Sable vibes.
Totally.
Artistically Sable vibes.
And I think this one has been announced to be coming out.
Especially the world.
Totally, on October 4th. So adding to the rest of the year once
again.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And then this one was the one that kind of made headlines. Project Mugen, the debut trailer for this.
I've heard about this one.
This is Spider-Man meets anime. Project Mugen is a free-to-play, urban-themed, open-world RPG where players will act as the Investigato with the codename Infinite Trigger and explore the world. Here you will meet different partners and together deal with chaos, the abnormal phenomena that threaten human safety. And what we are watching, as I say all these very anime words, is basically someone swing around a New York-looking city like they're Spider-Man.
It's
quite pretty looking, though.
Yeah. What was that anime game that was also controversial because it was a copy of Zelda Breath of the Wild?
Genshin Impact, which is now a very popular game in its own right. Yeah.
Yes, it's the Genshin Impact of like Spider-Man. And
yeah, absolutely.
I heard a lot of people talk about the world being kind of more like cyberpunky.
Yeah, it definitely seems like that. And I'm going to be honest, looking at this trailer, I've watched it a couple times now. It looks quite fun. Like it's not even that much of a dig on it that it's like very much using Spider-Man mechanics.
I feel like I will jump in on this to give it a go. I'm very 100%. Intrigued.
Free to play as well, so there'll probably be some kind of weird monetization, but it also means you can at least jump in and give it a go, which is exciting.
Yeah.
That's Project Mugen. Did we get a release date for this one? Let's just fast forward a little bit. I'm not sure we got a release date. You can like pre-register for the beta though.
Pre-register, that's it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that one is kind of cool, but it's also very funny that it is made the rounds for it just looking like Spider-Man.
Really controversial, especially the jumping off stuff and like running on the wall and jumping off.
And
like,
combat on top of roofs and stuff. It looks very similar.
It looks like they've just ripped animations straight out.
Absolutely. This one is the Payday 3 official Ice-T trailer. Ice-T is coming to Payday 3, Josh. What are your thoughts on Ice-T coming to Payday 3?
Fine. Whatever. Like, I don't know. Payday 3 kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah, this one is coming out in a couple months, in the next couple months. I didn't make it to my list we're going to talk about later, but...
Yeah, and no one really knew about it, did they?
It was definitely... I mean, Payday 2 is like a much-loved kind of PC multiplayer game.
Yeah, it keeps going, that game.
Yeah,
People
but this...
still big on it.
The big thing about this one is this one will be on Game Pass, which for a multiplayer game like this is massive. Just instantly ignites that player base.
Yeah.
So good move on that part. But yeah, it's going to have Ice-T in it. You're going to team up with Ice-T to do a caper, is the official line.
A caper?
Yeah, totally.
That's such I feel like that word just doesn't really fit the rest of that.
No, not really. It's interesting.
I don't think of Ice-T doing capers.
This is the Ice-T trailer. I didn't really see Ice-T in it much at all. I guess in the start of this.
And that was, what was that? September...
Payday 3 is out September 21.
Cool. Okay.
Josh, there is no Ice-T in this trailer.
No, I didn't think so either.
I had not watched this one yet. I just found it funny that Ice-T was in Payday 3.
So weird.
But yeah, that's that. I'm not sure I must care about specifically Ice-T being in it, but we might give Payday 3 a go because those games can be fun and it's on Game Pass. Yeah. Maybe that's a little multiplayer stream we can do.
Easy in. Yeah. Sweet.
And then we've got a couple little indie 2D platformers, which Josh, you and I big into those indie 2D platformers. So this is Bo Path of the Teal Lotus. Looks gorgeous just to start with. Again, if you're an audio listener to this podcast, this may be one of the ones you want to chuck on a little YouTube video, but we'll try and do our best to describe what we're seeing on the screen. It's a cute little kind of like radish-like beings.
I was going to say radish. They look like, little white radishes with a little leaf on their head.
Yeah, but I'll read the little blurb we've got. Explore the gorgeous world of Bo Path of the Teal Lotus in this announcement trailer for the upcoming 2.5D action platformer game inspired by Japanese folklore. In Bow Path of the Teal Lotus, engage in acrobatic aerial combat, unlock powerful mystical abilities, and explore an interconnected world of myth as you seek to unravel the mysteries of your origin. So pretty generic little blurb there. But you got your little kind of Japanese style fox mask. I'm personally very into Japanese folklore, so I think this will be one to watch out for. And artistically, it looks gorgeous.
Huge Hollow Knight vibes.
Yeah, totally. Very much.
I'm kind of shocked at
movement.
how much.
Speaking of games looking like other games, yeah.
Yeah, and the animation, the character as he's running with like almost a little cape down the bottom.
Totally. There was a little bit we just went past there though, where the character is on the back of a little origami crane, kind of flying through the world. That looks
beautiful.
Sick. This is made by Squid Shock Studios and will be available on PC in 2024. So keep an eye out on this one. I feel like this is the kind of one we might get a Next Fest demo for. So definitely I'll be keeping an eye out for this for sure. And then another similar 2D platformer set, I assume in Japan by the name Akatori. This is there's not much to this blurb. It just says dive into the world of Akatori and see various locations, combat enemies, and more from Akatori in this latest trailer for the upcoming Metroidvania / platformer game. But I will say, with the last one had a lot more kind of Hollow Knight looking combat. This reminds me, it's a little bit Messenger like, but kind of a very like hack and slash kind of combat style as opposed to the jumping around, booping on top of people's heads of your old Hollow Knights. So a couple little 2D platformers here.
And that was a bit more of a cleaner art style as well.
Yeah, totally. It was very
much more like cartoony.
Yeah, kind of pixel arty, but with quite a lot of detail still.
Yeah.
Very nice looking one. Then next up, we've talked a little bit about this one. Just quickly, Akatori will be on PC and Nintendo Switch, but I don't think we have a release date for it yet. Cool. Josh, thank goodness you're here.
Yes.
You did send me the trailer for this one.
I did. It looks so weird.
This is so weird looking. I don't have the audio on for it, but it's quite...
I don't know what it is. I'm not sure anyone knows what this game is yet.
It's just very odd looking. It's developed by Panic. It's published by Panic. Who published Untitled Goose Game.
And created the Playdate.
Yes, importantly. It's just little dudes walking around. Obviously, Ruby Innes, who I work with, very excited about this game. Weird little dudes walking around a town, causing mischief, it seems. I don't know. This looks great.
Yeah, I almost get like Adventure Time vibes.
Yeah.
From the art style and just the weirdness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's like Adventure Time mixed with what was that weird game where Push Me Pull You?
Yeah.
I get kind of that like the weirdness of that game.
Was Push Me Pull You made by the Goose Game devs before they made Goose Game? I feel like it was.
Ooh,
I think it might be House.
Right.
But anyway, it seems like Panic very into publishing this kind of game, which is cool.
Yeah.
So that's thank goodness you're here, arriving 2024 on PlayStation 5, PC, and Nintendo Switch. So that's cool. And then the next one we have is this is a personal one for me, Josh.
Nice.
But Marvel Snap has released on PC, like officially released on PC. It's been in early access there for a while. And they have released this awesome looking animated trailer. Basically to celebrate the release. There's been a bunch of like in-game login rewards and stuff for the past week. They've been doing Twitch drops. The game has been blowing up on Twitch, Josh. Like genuinely the most popular game on Twitch. So you've had like people like Hassan have been playing Marvel Snap, which is quite crazy.
That's sick. Yeah, this looks amazing. Whoever made this, I want an animated series from them.
Totally.
What just happened then with Squirrel Girl was so flippin' Sailor Moon.
Yep. Well, she's literally wearing a Sailor Moon outfit. Yep.
Yeah, they crushed so many animation styles just then in like 2 minutes.
I think
it's
incredible. I'm just going to talk about Snap for a second, all right? Everyone, you have to indulge me. I love Marvel Snap. I've played, at this point, hundreds upon hundreds of hours of Marvel Snap. I have 300 hours on PC alone, and I play on my phone as well. I play a lot of Marvel Snap daily, and it is so cool to see them succeed at getting other people to play this game, because I'm a big card game nerd, and I have played Hearthstone for many years, kind of followed Ben Brode between the development of this game, then into Marvel Snap, the development of Hearthstone, then into Marvel Snap and stuff, and Hearthstone had the Blizzard behind it. Marvel Snap obviously has the Marvel behind it, but it's a little independent developer, and they kind of needed to get off their feet. So to see them this is the second time they've made one of these animated videos now. The first time they did it was late last year, I think, just after release, and both times they've been fantastic. I want to see a Marvel animated show in this style.
Yes.
But I think the bigger thing is, they were able to advertise it on opening night live, and announce that Twitch drops were a thing. And then, Marvel Snap streamers, the existing creators within the community, were just getting so many people in chat, mostly there for Twitch drops. But I think, I'm happy to see this game succeeding, Josh. It's people are playing this who don't play card games. People are just I like Marvel, I like the characters, and the game is simple enough that it's allowing them to get into it and keep playing it. I know so many people that would never touch a card game that play this game, and I think that's super cool. And it's just nice to see this game succeeding, because the developers have made a bunch of missteps, but they've also done a bunch of cool things. So
yeah, nice, very cool.
Definitely, if you're listening to this one on audio, go check out the Marvel Snap launch trailer for PC. Very good, and also play Marvel Snap. Just do it. It's great. It's so easy to pick up, and you'll lose a lot of time, but it'll be worth it. A few other announcements just from opening night live. Little Nightmares 3, just another game, the Little Nightmares saga. I didn't know if you're into Little Nightmares, Josh, but I put this in here in case you were.
They are games that I've wanted to play for a while, but I remember seeing this is developed by Supermassive, who didn't develop the other two.
Interesting. I did not know this.
Yeah. So let me have a look at Little Nightmares 1. Tarsier Studios.
There you go.
Tarsier. Yeah. So it's Supermassive. Who do they do? Hades.
Supermassive did.
Supermassive do. They do the
Until Dawn and Dark
Until
Pictures.
Dawn ones. Yeah. That's the one. Yes.
So horror's definitely in their wheelhouse, but not necessarily this style of horror. I do know that they've kind of expanded outwards, so I can see them kind of picking this one up. Maybe they picked up the developers and roped them in under their name or something.
Potentially.
Not a big Little Nightmares person, but this is exciting for people who like that series, and there's a lot of those people. And
this is a multiplayer game too, I believe.
Yeah, totally. Multiplayer is huge. I'm not sure the other ones were, so I think that's a pretty big deal.
Super Giant Games did Hades. That's why I got mixed up. Not Supermassive.
Yeah. So Little Nightmares 2, 2024 on every platform. So you'll be able to play
Little Nightmares 3.
Little Nightmares 3. Oh, there's too many numbers, too many games, too many names. Speaking of names and games, Crimson Desert. This one is by the developers of Black Desert Online, a Korean MMO, which is very well known for being very beautiful looking. And having a very extensive character creator and stuff, but they're making a just a regular single player RPG game called Crimson Desert.
It looks just freaking crazy,
stunning looking. They've released a few trailers for this now, but it's the particle effects that are going on, just the general lighting effects. It's almost too much.
And the destruction and stuff is really. Crazy.
Totally.
I think is this the one that the Kind of Funny guys were super into?
I think so.
I don't know if you listen to their Gamescom coverage, but they I remember them talking about one game in particular. I think it was this.
Yeah, I think it's just...
They were just blown away.
It looks like you can do a lot in it, for one. It very much looks like your classic RPG. You're walking through towns. You're doing combat. You're on horses, riding out of towns. It's just... the thing I can't get over is how freaking gorgeous this game looks. And I think it's just exciting that, like, they've made an MMO, but obviously they're jumping back and doing single-player game now. And, like, I just want to look at this game. There's fishing. We all love fishing.
It looked good too.
Yep. There's currently fighting a crab.
Fighting?
Yep. Pat a dog.
Patting a dog.
Donkey. Cats.
Picking up a cat.
It's got everything, Josh. It's got everything.
Leading. Was that playing? They were playing a flute to lead. Was that mice or was that chickens? Are they like little chicks?
I think it's maybe little chicks. But yeah.
Interesting.
There's hot air balloon. It's crazy.
This game.
This Sky Island, by the looks of things, this game seems insane.
What is happening
I'd only
here?
watched like the start of this trailer, so I am discovering this with you. You're like, whoa, hang on, that's insane. Okay, so what we're seeing here is they're kind of like making their way through bramble and like bush, but they're like actively like clawing their way through it in a way, like obviously in a game, you would tend to just run through that or be blocked by it, but they're like interacting with the environment. This is crazy. They're climbing up trees. They're climbing up walls. It's Assassin's Creed now.
Assassin's Creed?
This kind of looks... I would almost say this looks like... Not to be that person. This looks like Breath of the Wild with just super realistic graphics.
Yeah.
And
100%.
like obviously a bit grittier, like kind of story vibes and combat and stuff.
It looks like Breath of the Wild meets Assassin's Creed.
They just pole vaulted over a wall.
Yep. Maybe Ghost of Tsushima. What just happened? They jumped. Okay. They jumped off a cliff with their horse, and then jumped off their horse to go further. Yeah. And then turned into something
weird shadow
to like
wings,
fly or
and
glide.
now they're climbing up a like living tree.
Okay. So there we've got what's that beautiful game where you climb up like giant things to kill them? People are yelling at their computers right now.
Josh, this isn't a real game. The more and more I watch of this, the more I'm like,
surely it doesn't exist, right?
This is a tech demo.
Shadow of the Colossus is the one I was thinking of.
Totally. I think my thing I'm most fascinated about, I haven't played Black Desert myself. Well, the destruction going on in the background there with that dragon as well. This is crazy. I'm super curious, like, how well this runs. I haven't played much Black Desert Online, so I don't know if that's, like, a big struggle with this. But, like, this is obviously the trailer. Oh, my God. There's Sky Island. It is Breath. It's Tears of the Kingdom.
This is insane.
Like, I don't know how this performs on anything, is what I'm saying right now, what I'm looking at.
This is again, this is another have to play on PlayStation because
PlayStation.
It will not go on any of my computers.
No release date for that one either. That one's just and look, frankly, will we ever see it? I mean, it looks like there's quite a lot of game here, but I don't know. It's just like a lot of it seems too good to be true. But then again, I'm sure it'll have its problems. These games always do. But this is a great trailer. This is a fantastic trailer. Definitely, again, for audio listeners, check this one out, Crimson Desert, if you can, because it looks like quite an incredible game, to be honest. That's about all I can say. And then the final thing we need to talk about, another incredible looking game that we've seen before, Black Myth Wukong. This obviously made the rounds a couple years ago. Do you remember this making the rounds a couple years ago? It's basically
very vaguely.
Yeah, there was a very short kind of tech demo-y trailer. Here we see a headless man playing on like a mandolin.
Have a head?
Yep. And we don't have the audio on, but throughout the trailer you can hear him kind of singing a Chinese folk song, it seems. But this is by a Chinese. I don't know how he's singing, Josh. It's all magic. It's by a Chinese development team, and they've been working on this for a little while now. They released a tech demo that shocked the world a couple of years ago because everyone was like, this looks so pretty, and it looks like a Dark Souls game, but like even better and gorgeous and all those things. And also, it looks like a difficult game, but the combat is quite a lot more dynamic, I'd say, than a Dark Souls game. When in a Dark Souls game, you're kind of just stabbing and rolling a lot. The big thing with Wukong, the Monkey King, in Chinese mythology is he has his extendable staff. So a lot of the combat involves like using your staff to like parry and jump and swing around on, and extend it and all that kind of thing. And he's also Wukong is also a shapeshifter in Chinese mythology, so there's some of that stuff going on. Again, I think this and Crimson Desert, both Unreal Engine 5 games, so we're really starting to see why, like, just how gorgeous games can be with that kind of technology.
Yeah, the power of Unreal.
Absolutely. It's unreal, Josh, the power of Unreal.
It's unreal, man.
Yeah.
Great.
But yeah, this game looks fantastic. They've actually... ever since that first announcement, they've had a pretty regular cadence about like once every year of releasing new stuff about this game, like new combat, new battle design. They've released more gameplay on top of this than is just shown in this trailer. And this one, I think, again, this was another game I was convinced was never going to come out. It was just going to be a flash in the pan that we saw on the internet and never heard about again. But it seems like this one's actually releasing in 2024, I think, is what they're saying. They've managed to turn it into a real game and not just a tech demo. And I'm very excited for it. It's also, this and Crimson Desert, both developed. Crimson Desert by a Korean studio, Black Myth Wukong by a Chinese studio. It's nice to see, obviously Japan has been like quite a pillar of the industry for a while, and we see a lot of games coming out of Japan, but other kind of Asian countries have some like success with bigger development teams and stuff, because often the classic thing, especially for China, would be that their developers would be contracted to work on bigger Western AAA games, but now they're all kind of banding together and making their own games, and we're getting gorgeous looking stuff like this and Crimson Desert, and this one obviously inspired by Chinese mythology, which we haven't really had a lot of games delve into that as much. Journey to the West is a very, very popular piece of Chinese myth, but we don't see as much of it in the West because, you know, we've got our own kind of religions and stuff. So it's cool. Very, very keen to see this one.
Yeah, it's awesome to see these sort of more Asian teams making waves in the Western market as well. Like the fact that this is in opening night live and people are keen for it. And
yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing. This and Crimson Desert, in opening night live. Not only this, but like obviously like the Mugen game we showed earlier and stuff. The fact that these big shows are getting a bit more diverse in like where their games are coming from. It's not just your Naughty Dogs, your like American developers and your big European developers. We're getting a lot more Japanese devs, and then these like Korean and Chinese devs also starting to pop up and stuff, which I think is super duper cool. Anyway, exciting time for some games that we already knew about and a few ones we didn't. But look, I'm sure there'll be plenty more announcements later in the year. Probably a few more to talk about during the Game Awards. We'll talk about them when that happens on ETTO Sidequest, of course, the ongoing podcast that we're recording right now. But Josh, any of those? I know we just kind of smashed through a lot of stuff just then. Any of those really take your fancy?
Definitely Crimson Desert stands out to me a lot. Project Mugen just purely for the just to see what that is.
Totally.
Thank goodness you're here because it looks weird as heck. And then the two like 2D games that you chucked in, Bo, Path of the Teal Lotus, and Akatori. Both just look beautiful in their own different ways.
Totally.
I think the Bo in particular, I have on my list that we're about to discuss, I have Hollow Knight Silksong, which I know doesn't have a release date yet.
But is supposed to technically come out this year.
They have said the end of this year. In June, they said there was a Game Pass trailer for it. And less than 2 weeks ago at the time of recording, there was a post on PlayStation's Twitter account about this game coming to PlayStation. It's got to be close. It didn't say a time. It just said play it on PlayStation, basically, with a logo.
Totally.
So very, very intrigued. But either way, after playing Hollow Knight a couple of years ago, I think did I play it during COVID? Maybe.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but after playing it a couple of years ago, loved it. Very much way after its release, well after its release. Everyone already knew it was a good game. I already knew it was a good game. I just never got to it.
Yeah.
I'm keen to play another game like that.
Yeah. And Bo could be that if Hollow Knight Silksong never comes out.
Could be it.
Yeah. No, totally. I have played the first Hollow Knight, but I never got very far into it. I just like kind of scratched the surface of it, and I think I'll probably play Silksong when it comes out. But I was just a bit too late to the Hollow Knight train. But totally, it definitely had a lot of those vibes, and I think again, just the setting of Japanese mythology. Because we grew up in Australia, grew up learning probably a lot more about European mythology and that kind of stuff. As I've gotten older, I've gotten more and more interested in Asian mythologies, and it's cool to see, again, games that are kind of incorporating that stuff into it. And I think it's cool to see different types of games as well, having a 2D platformer game that's doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, totally. You're not convinced to go back to Marvel Snap?
I keep thinking about it. I honestly do keep thinking about going back.
Yeah. You'll never leave, though, Josh. You'll never leave, is the thing.
Yeah. I'm just nervous about my time at the moment.
No, that's very fair. That's very fair.
So many things to play.
Yeah.
I wonder if there ever will be a game that I will constantly play amongst other games like your Destiny and Marvel Snap and stuff.
Yeah.
Whether there's going to be other things like that.
Yeah.
To constantly keep me
Well, you did play World of Warcraft at one point, correct?
I did.
Yeah,
I sort of dip in and out of that and don't play.
Yeah.
I don't play for long enough, and it's not one that I like keep my subscription up and keep going back to whilst playing other things. It takes over my life, so I need to stop playing it.
Yeah, totally.
But yes, don't remind me about World of Warcraft, because otherwise I'll go back.
Okay, that's fine. I won't do that anymore. For me, I guess out of those ones I kind of brought up to you, very excited for Black Myth Wukong to actually just see how that game comes together. Same with Crimson Desert. I think out of the indie games, probably my two picks are Thank Goodness You're Here. I've got three picks. Thank Goodness You're Here, Bo, Path of the Teal Lotus, for the reasons we mentioned, and Billy Bust Up. I don't know, just looked
nice.
interesting and cool to me.
Does look very cute.
Want to see a bit more of that game. But yeah, that's all of Gamescom. It's not all of Gamescom. There was a lot more Gamescom. You can go follow all that up. But we're not going to talk about the rest of it because we got other stuff to talk about. More games,
we have
Josh.
So many games to talk about, Ben, and we're 40 minutes in.
Did you know that this is like video game podcast, everyone? Because if you didn't, this is the episode you'll realize.
Surprise, surprise.
We're going to skip right over the quest log. No quest log today. We're kind of going to talk about some games we've been playing in our other segment. But we figured, because we're already talking about so many games, we're going to jump into our main quest, Josh. Our main quest, which is our gaming plans for the rest of 2023. Sting it. We stung it. Stung
it.
Anyway, yes. This is our gaming plans for the rest of 2023. In case you didn't hear me say that before the sting, you're now hearing me say it after the sting. It's been a hectic year for games, as we've talked about already in just the 3 episodes of this podcast. We've already said it a lot, but it's true, and it ain't stopping. If anything, it's heating up. And so we thought, with 4 months left in the year, we're going to kind of take a sit down, have a look at what we still want to get back to, stuff we might have missed, stuff that's yet to release that we're keen about, maybe stuff we're already playing that we're going to continue to play. My list is mainly stuff. I haven't had too much of a dive into your list. My list is basically all stuff that's come out this year. So if there's older games that I want to play at some point, I'm just like, I'll play them, might incorporate in them. I'll talk about them in a future podcast. But I'm just specifically looking at stuff that has come out this year that I missed that I would like to try and get back to, hopefully this year, but maybe at a later point.
That's pretty much That's pretty much my list as well.
Yeah.
There's a few that have cheated their way in for various reasons, and I'll explain that when we get to them.
That's very fair. How do we want to do this? We didn't really talk about how we're going to do this. Should we, like...
do you want to talk about what we're currently playing?
Yes. Let's talk about what we're currently playing. A little bit of because we lost the last segment. I'll just go real quick, and then you can talk about yours.
Mine will be real quick, too.
Yeah, totally. There was a big Destiny showcase. I like Destiny, obviously, in case you didn't know that about me. Big Destiny 2 showcase last week. The night of opening night live, there was also a giant Destiny 2 showcase. And that was revealing some more information about next year's expansion, The Final Shape, which is like not their last expansion, but their last expansion in this saga that has been going since the start of Destiny 1. So basically, a big deal. It's been going for 10 years. They're wrapping it all up with this expansion and then keeping on making the game, but moving on to different stories and stuff.
Cool.
Anyway, I'm not going to talk about all the announcements for Final Shape. I'll probably talk about that more on this podcast in the future when that thing is actually coming up. But alongside that, they announced the next season of Destiny, which has just started, which is called Season of the Witch. I don't want to bore you all with all the Destiny lore and stuff because you can go to other places for that. I can talk about it on my stream, but we're not going to do that here. But what I will say, so far, I've been playing a lot of this season, and it's been very fun to play. The new activities are kind of... Destiny has been experimenting with like roguelike mechanics in its seasonal activities. So they'll put in a new different seasonal activity themed around the season each time. And last season, and then more so this season, they've kind of chucked in these activities that are randomized, and like each time you go into them and you can kind of do them in different orders and stuff. This season's big mechanic is including a deck of cards, and you know me, I like cards, into that.
Amazing.
So you kind of get a different buff from different cards that you collect throughout the season when you start each encounter. So it's super cool. But yeah, it's been nice to kind of jump back into Destiny because it's been such a hectic few months for video games. Haven't been playing as much Destiny. All my Destiny playing friends haven't been playing it because we've all been playing your Breath of the Tears of the Kingdoms, your Diablos, all those games. So we're all kind of a little bit back on that Destiny kick, which is cool. The one thing I am sad about, there's a day one raid coming up this weekend that I will be missing. It's the first one since I started playing Destiny that I will be missing, which is a bit of a shame.
Sad days.
But my team has managed to, they've got a few replacements in. They're still going for it, my galley girls. And I think it's exciting to see how they go. I obviously have a big back pocket stream going on this weekend. At this point, it will have happened. But yeah, luckily I don't feel that bad about it because it's they're bringing one of the old raids back again. It's the middle of the year is when they bring back an old raid rather than it be a brand new thing. So I'll still be around, and I'm making sure I'm going to be available for the brand new one at the start of next year. But I was like, it was never going to work. So I was like, it's okay. But yeah, Destiny's a lot of fun, having a lot of fun with it again, which is good. I think a lot of people are kind of saying this is the best season Destiny's done in a while so far, which is good. So that's super exciting. I'm not going to talk any more about that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I've just been playing some games that I think I've already talked about, at least on ETTO's Catch Up, the sister podcast to this one that I do with Will. I've been playing Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker still. I put it down for a while because I was just distracted with so many other games. But it was just... This game was a game that I saw like years ago when it first released. I'm not like the biggest Mario guy. Like I dig him. He's cool, but it's not...
I feel like that's most people's reaction to Mario. We dig him, but he's not the guy we care about.
Yeah, I don't think I really grew up with Nintendo that much. Like I grew up with the Game Boy and then went to Wii after that. So I sort of missed probably like the biggest parts of him.
Totally.
Because then I was just like PlayStation and Xbox.
But
I'm sort of like dipping my toe back into Mario. I'm very keen for all of the Mario that's coming out this year. But yeah, this one, like I love a collectathon sort of game. And this one just always caught my eye. But in classic Nintendo fashion, just was never on sale until earlier this year. So I managed to nab it for like $40 instead of 65 or something. And then, I've been playing through it. There's 3 chapters. something like 90 levels or whatever. I think maybe less.
It's such a cute little game.
It is. It's so good. Have you played it?
No, I haven't. But every time I've watched it, I'm like, one day if I can get that game super cheap, and Nintendo never puts their games on sale, so probably not. But I'm like, one day, I'll do it. It's just gorgeous and cute and adorable, and it's such a nice little concept. So well executed.
It's very, very well executed. Like it's the design of every level is just amazing. Like they're little diorama puzzle boxes essentially. Yeah. And it's so beautiful. It's so clever. And I think I'm like 10 levels away from finishing it. Each level might take like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
So
totally.
Not far off finishing. Maybe I'll try and finish it tonight. But the other game that I'm also currently trying to finish, and that's going to be very difficult for a reason that there is a game that has come out today at the time of recording that Ben and I are very, very keen for, is Hi-Fi Rush, which came out in January this year. And I think I'm at like maybe chapter 8 out of 12. So I'm pretty close.
Yeah, I finished that game, luckily. Because again, I would be in your similar situation. I managed to get that one done before the big swarm of games. And yeah, I think you're pretty close towards the end. That sounds doable, but we'll see.
Yes, definitely. Because I'm just trying to find a couple of games that I can play, like smaller games. I think the other game we'll discuss in a second is going to take a lot of my time, and it's on Game Pass, and so I won't be able to take it away with me, so I might have to play it and then come back to it. But I'm trying to find games and play games that I can get through very quickly before I get married and leave for 2 weeks.
That's fair. That's very fair.
And sticking to like Switch games from then.
That's smart. So, that's smart. Well, you got Captain Toad that'll keep you going through that. But
and there's a couple on my list as well that I'll talk about.
Yeah, totally. Hi-Fi Rush, fun game. Love it a lot. I'm sure I'll probably talk about that a bit at the end of the year when we talk a Game of the Year list. Although, will it make it? There's too many games, Josh. There's so many games.
I feel like it won't. Like, I'm enjoying it, and I'm settling into it more this time than I did when I first started.
Which is it's such a shame, because any other year it would make it. Like, it's a very good game, and I think it was definitely like super good in that early part of the year when nothing else was coming out. The fact that Shadow dropped and stuff. One of those games that is just super polished and well executed and is like pretty bug free and a fun time. That's
it.
That's cool. All right.
Nice. All right. What are we keen for?
Yes.
Do we want to jump into?
Yeah. Let's go.
The rest of the year and then look.
Let's go. The rest of the. No. That's fine. We were both thinking the same thing, and we both talked about it. Let's go rest of the year. We're going to go through the rest of the year's releases, talk about the ones we're most excited about. And then, we'll jump back to games we kind of missed from the year. And look, being realistic, looking at this now, we're not going to get to all these games.
Absolutely.
We said it's our gaming plans. It's the stuff I'm looking at that I'm like, maybe. Maybe I will, but probably not. But we'll see. We'll see. To start off with, Josh, this is one that's on both our lists today, at time of recording, not when this is coming out. Today, Sea of Stars is releasing. The embargo for reviews for it lifted last night, and it's looking pretty good. I think when I looked at it last night, it was at like a 96. It's down to a 90, but that's still impressive. This is obviously. I found out today, I thought it was just another game from the makers of The Messenger. Apparently it's a prequel to The Messenger.
I heard I think it might have been in the Nintendo Life review of it that went up today, at time of recording, that, it's set in the Messenger world.
Fascinating.
Like they're
that
within
makes
the
me
same
even more
universe.
excited, because that universe is wild. Knowing Josh and I played The Messenger a couple of years back and was like, Josh, you have to play this game. I think you finally got to it last year,
I think.
Yeah. I think that sounds about right. We both adore it. And I think I played a little bit of this game in the demo in last Steam Next Fest, and I was like, I'm not going to play too much because I don't want to spoil it, but from what I did play, super cool. Basically is just a classic JRPG style game. And there's not much more to say about it other than I'm super freaking excited about this.
Yeah.
And this is one that I definitely will play and hopefully play to the end because it's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like I haven't played a JRPG properly before. Like I feel like I've dipped in and out before, but this one, yeah, I'm super keen purely because of, the devs and the fact that they made the messenger. When you mentioned it to me last week, like I remember hearing about it, but had definitely forgotten about it at that point. And I feel like maybe Lucarius had mentioned it, or someone had mentioned it in chat while we were streaming.
I've been talking
Diablo.
to Luke about it a lot, so yeah.
Yeah, and they brought up that it was on Game Pass, and I was like, what is this? And you told me about it, and my hype has grown so fast.
Yeah, totally.
I'm so excited. I've watched like making of videos online. I've watched like a bunch of trailers and a bunch of reviews.
Yeah.
I'm so keen for
I
Sea
think
of
I'm
Stars.
maybe even going to play this tonight. We'll see.
I may as well. I pre-downloaded it this morning. It wasn't quite out in Australia yet, but we could install it at least. So
speaking of pre-download, we'll jump back to a couple of your other games in a sec. But speaking of pre-download, a game you can pre-download, and it is massive, so I recommend it. That is coming out early access in a couple days, but then full release on September 6th is Starfield, Josh. My God. This one's brutal for you because you're literally going to another country like 2 days after it comes out.
I have to wait for this one. I'm not going to touch it until I get back.
That's very fair. But I don't think we need to say too much about Starfield other than it's a new Bethesda Game Studios game. We haven't had one of them since 2015. That's 8 years.
Jeez.
So
what the
it's a pretty big deal. And
that's crazy.
I think this game will be great. It'll have your classic Bethesda-isms that some people get frustrated with and other people love. There's already some leaked footage coming out that very much shows the classic facial animations looking at the camera. But I kind of love it, Josh. I kind of love the jankiness of it.
It's a style. It's a visual game style that they're just hanging on to. It's fine.
I think
I don't love it, but I can look past it.
My biggest thing with this, I'm fascinated to see how the internet reacts to this game. Because it feels like in the 8 years since Fallout, there's been a lot of anti-Bethesda sentiment has kind of risen up. And I'm curious to see if people no, this game is good actually, or that kind of factors in. I don't think it'll factor into the review scores. I'm pretty convinced the review scores of this are going to be glowing, but I'm very curious if the rest of the internet gets mad about it. I don't know. It's fascinating. Let's not talk too much more about Starfield. I'm sure we'll have plenty of opportunity to talk about that. Josh, you've got a couple other games that are coming out very soon / have just come out. I do. So one of mine is Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. So a lot of people would be like, Josh, that's already out at time of recording. You don't know when we're recording this, so shut up. We haven't made it clear at any point.
Yeah, that's right. But it's not out. It's out in a couple of days at time of recording on PS5.
Yeah, which is where you like to play your video games.
Yes, this is, I think, I would have bought this on Steam already if it wasn't for the fact that I think this is a game that I want to platinum.
Yeah.
I haven't even played it, but I feel like it's a game I will want to do that with.
So for those who don't know, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, basically a Jet Set Radio homage. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So I played the original. Sorry, not the original. I played Jet Set Radio Future on the original Xbox. I think it came with my Xbox along with Gotham Racing. I think they were both on one disc together. And I remember not getting it at first and then just playing a bunch of Gotham Racing and Halo and then coming back to it later and then getting really into it. Yeah. I loved that game. And the fact that this time you can do skateboarding and BMX and rollerblading instead of just rollerblading like what was in Jet Set Radio. It's sick. So very, very keen. I'm definitely going to be jumping into that in a few days.
Yep. And the other one, Blasphemous 2.
My other one is Blasphemous 2. Yes.
Yep.
So everyone would have heard me talk about Blasphemous a lot before. I love that game. I had never finished that game. But that's out on the 24th of August.
Yeah.
Wait, it's already out.
Yeah, it's already out.
It's out already at time of recording. And
is it?
At time of
Who knows? Maybe. When are we recording this? I don't know.
I love the first one. I love what I've played of it. I keep going back and trying to restart it or trying to pick it up again, but keep getting distracted. I think maybe it could be a good Japan flight game.
Yeah.
While I'm flying over and flying back and stuff. So maybe I can try and finish it while I'm over in Japan.
Yeah.
But
these games are really hard, correct?
They are. They're like a Dark Souls.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of, or like, I guess a...
Metroid Dread. Metroidvania, dare you say.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And I've heard Blasphemous 2, good things about Blasphemous 2 already, from Kind of Funny and some of the guys on Kind of Funny.
Yeah.
And other reviews and stuff like that. I've heard it's just...
Pretty gorgeous looking.
Yeah.
I said that a lot today, but like this is a very, very pretty looking game.
It's just always very like creepy and a lot of like religious paraphernalia. That's the word.
Yep.
In it, which is fascinating. Very Catholic vibes. But yeah, it's real interesting. Very keen to check this out, but I do want to play through Blasphemous 1 first.
Yep, that's fair. That's very fair. Cool. Well, that's that. This is hard because we're in two separate lists, but I'm trying to vaguely go by release date. But it's fine. I think your next game is the next one that's coming out.
I guess so. On September 14. I'm just keen to jump in and try this because I love these sorts of games.
Yep.
Monster Hunter Now. So it's basically the Pokemon Go of Monster Hunter.
Oh,
so it's an AR game.
Yeah.
So I love these games. I really miss the Witcher one, Monster Slayer or whatever that was. Something like that.
I love that game.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, right. Crazy.
Yeah, like 6 months ago, it's just completely gone. But I loved it because it had like one thing that I wish Pokemon Go had was like proper quests. So the Witcher one had quests where it was like you would go and you would like go to an NPC that had a exclamation mark above their head. It would be fully voice acted and animated. And they would talk to you and they would say like, oh, my daughter, like, went off into the bush and I can't find her. Can you go find her for me? So you have to like walk across your, like a few streets away or whatever, across your town. And then you find the daughter and she's, found this cave and become possessed with a demon or something. And then you have to kill her and go back and you can choose whether you like lie to the person or whether you tell them the truth. And like it was an RPG. It's a legitimate RPG, but I was walking around my town at the time and it was really cool. I really loved that game. And I'm sad that it's not around anymore, but I'm keen to check out more of them like Monster Hunter Now. So
will that fill the void?
Yes. Who knows? I'll talk about it when I get back from Japan.
Speaking of filling the void, Pinocchio is a character that has a void in his heart for not being a real boy. And sometimes he lies. And that's the segue to my next game, which is Lies of P. What a fantastic segue that was. Lies of P coming out September 19 on Game Pass. I'm looking at my list here. 5 out of the first 6 games on my list are all coming out on Game Pass. And that I think is part of the reason I'm excited for them because I know they're coming out there. This one is obviously a Souls-like game that is based in the Pinocchio world, mythology, lore. I'm not sure how you describe that. We've had a lot of Pinocchio content in recent years. It's a crazy thing.
We have, 2 movies last year, I think.
Yeah, but not a video game yet. And this is a very, very much a gritty take on the Pinocchio story. I've played a little bit of this again in a demo on Steam. Didn't want to play too much because, one, it's hard, and I was like, I don't want to burn myself out on the demo. Need to wait till the main game. But from what I did play, it's got a lot of Bloodborne vibes, I would say, as opposed to other Dark Souls games. It feels a bit faster paced. And also just the aesthetic is very like Gothic London, which makes sense for what Pinocchio is. But think this game's going to be super cool. I like dabbling in Souls-like games, even if I don't get very far into them. I've only finished, I've only finished Sekiro. I think I didn't get to the end of Elden Ring, which is fine because it's a very long game. But yeah, I at least want to give this one a go. See if it's too hard for me to get any further through, or maybe the theme of it will keep me going, because Pinocchio's story is a fun story, and I'm curious to see their take on it. And yeah, you kind of like customize his arm, and that's your main weapon, it seems, throughout the game. It's customizing this like mechanical arm that Pinocchio's got.
Nice. This wasn't on my list, but I since it's on Game Pass, I'll probably jump in and just give it a go.
Absolutely. It's very much the vibe for me. Next one, coming out the day after Lies of P, but a different style of game, Party Animals. Finally coming out. I feel like we played the demo for this game 10 years ago. I think it was actually only about 3 years ago, because it was around when Back Pocket started. I was playing this in the Back Pocket Discord with a bunch of friends when the demo was out. And this is basically, best way to describe it, Gang Beast style game, but it's animals instead of weird amorphous blobs. And yeah, they've got like a bunch of cool different weapons. From what I played of it, much better than Gang Beast, because it's just a lot more diverse in gameplay and like kind of arenas and stuff. Coming to Game Pass, so easy for a bunch of people to jump onto, which I think is fantastic. And I think it's going to be a great fun time to play with friends. Not much more to say on that one. And then we got two on the same day. I'm going to do mine real quick, and then we'll talk about yours, because yours is a bit bigger. And it's also would have been on my list if I'd remembered it. But the one I'm going to bring up is El Paso Elsewhere. This is a game that I first heard about earlier in the year. I think Kind of Funny, speaking of them, did a spotlight on it. And it's just this very interesting game. The best way of describing this game is interesting. This game is, it's weird. It's kind of Max Payne-ish. But it's got a very low poly aesthetic. But the best part about this game is it has a narrator that, like, in between scenes, just got this really gravelly narration voice. See if I can.
I cannot hear it, but
okay. Well,
I'm sure it's very cool.
I'll overlay it for everyone else. But yes, it's basically it's kind of the gameplay itself is going through these little, I would say, dreamscapes, kind of fighting these monsters, and you can kind of slow down time with your guns, your little dual pistols and stuff, and your shotguns and your Tommy guns, and it's great. The main way you slow down time is by diving, so it's super cool. You like dive and it slows down time, and then you like flip around and shoot stuff.
Very Max Payne. I played the first one, first Max Payne.
Yeah, it's got it's kind of very like small levels, I would say, and yeah, just like the vibes of this one are good. That's the best way I can say it. The vibes are good. It's I think you're kind of playing a vampire hunter-ish kind of character. Seems kind of like Blade. But yeah, I'm excited for this. It's coming to Xbox Series X and Steam in fall of 2023. I think the official date is September 26th we have now. So that's very exciting. Cool. Nice. That one won't be on Game Pass as far as I know, or is yet to be announced to be on Game Pass. But shows up there, great. But if not, I definitely will be looking to pick it up. Also coming out on September 26th. We're still in September, Josh. We haven't even gone through a month of this.
We haven't even gotten to the month yet.
Yeah.
But the Cyberpunk 2077 DLC.
DLC is not a fair name for it, to be clear.
I don't remember what it's called.
No, that's fair. I say DLC is not fair for it because this is reworking the whole game.
It's a remake of the entire game, essentially. Yeah, a reworking of the whole
Phantom
game.
Liberty is the name of it. But yes,
Phantom Liberty, that's the one. But yes, I never purchased the first one.
Me neither.
The original version of it, never played it. But Will has been playing it and talking about it on the catch up, and he loved it. Which I was
and then realized that this was coming out and changing the game and was like, damn it.
Yeah. So he's like, he recommended if you do play it after this comes out, not before.
Yeah.
Apparently the DLC is just inside the story.
Yeah.
So like you can just come across it and not even realize that that's the thing. But yeah, it's a game I keep thinking about, and I'm like, I don't think I'll ever get back to that. But now that this DLC's come out and everyone's talking about it so highly, and it's reviewing much better than it was, and it's essentially releasing again. This is almost like a re-release of the game.
I think the craziest thing about this, it's just like full systematic reworks. Basically, they're like. I've put a trailer on the screen for us. It's called New Ways to Play, but it's basically talking about the fact that they've revamped the entire game. So yeah, there's the DLC that we will probably play through, but the fact is that like they've revamped how like modding your body works, like how the upgrade trees for that works. It can have a greater effect on you if you start putting on too many mods. Brand new types of weapons. They've completely revamped how police chase you and like that system, so it actually is good now. Just like so, like the list is very long. I'm sure you can find an article that gives you exactly what you need to know about this. But I'm in the same boat as you. Never played the first game, mainly because on release it was not in a great state, and I was like, I'll get to it at some point. And it seems like the point is now. Although this is one where I feel like. This will be the one on my list. Then it's probably why it wasn't on the list initially. That'll slip the easiest because it's just something I can like pick up in a Steam sale with the DLC, and then like play over the holiday break or something. And I think that's probably how I'll do it. But I'm very excited to finally play this game because everyone who's played through the game, despite all its problems, even before this expansion came out, was like, it's a good game. It just doesn't work properly. And it seems like obviously over the course of the past couple of years they fixed a lot of those, and then now they're like reworking the more like fundamental gameplay parts that didn't work. So very cool.
It looks phenomenal. It looks crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And the CD Projekt Red have said this is the last thing they're doing with this game before Cyberpunk 2.
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah, so they clearly are planning to work on that at some point, and they're also working on other Witcher games. So who knows? Maybe in a few years we'll hear about a new CD Projekt thing, which is kind of cool to think about now that they're wrapping up on this. Oh yeah, the other thing we mentioned the police thing, but they're like doing proper vehicle combat now, and you can like hack from inside vehicles and do a bunch of stuff. It's
That's cool.
Super exciting. Also excited because I'll get to like use my beefed up graphic card that I got and like really put that to work, because obviously this is one of the first games I feel like that was really like ray tracing. So
yeah, absolutely. Cool.
Be cool to do that. Cool. That's September 26th for Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. Rounding out September, which I think when I talk to you about this, you will also be excited for this game, Josh, is a little game called Cocoon. This is by... Yes. Do you remember now?
I feel like I remember the trailer now.
Yeah.
Is this one you carry worlds around? You carry like a world and put it in a thing, and then you go into it?
Yes, basically.
It's a weird explanation of a game, but games, everybody.
From the lead gameplay designer of Limbo and Inside. And it is basically, as Josh just said, a game where you pick up little worlds and then go inside the little worlds. And got a very, very pretty looking aesthetic. But yeah, the main mechanic seems to be that you're like picking up these little orbs as this little moth person, and then putting down the orbs, and then rearranging orbs, and then jumping into orbs, and then going into new worlds, which then have other orbs, which then you go into other new worlds with more orbs.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
But yeah, it looks like kind of super mind-bending-y, and like the puzzles seem like they'll be super dynamic, and yeah, just I think this very fascinating one to look at. From what I've heard from a lot of people played this at Summer Games Fest and were like astonished by it. Like, we're like, this is going to be the sleeper hit that everyone's going to start talking about when it comes out.
Cool.
And another one on Game Pass.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
This September 29, you'll be back for this one, Josh. And maybe we can talk about this on a future Sidequest. Because, yeah, I think it's going to be super rad, super interesting. Very keen for that.
Yeah, I'm so glad so many of these games are coming out on Game Pass, because...
Me too. I was been thinking about...
Getting married is expensive.
we don't need to go too long about Game Pass, but dear God, the fact that I've been repeatedly thinking over the past week that we are playing Starfield for like no money. Well, like not no money. You're paying $10 to $15 a month, but like the amount we're paying for Starfield plus all the other games we talked about is crazy. Starfield, Josh. Starfield
should be over $100.
No, 100%.
And
I played like $120 for Diablo or whatever early in the year.
Yeah. So it's but that's if you pay like $10, is it? It's about 10.
If you're just getting like PC or Xbox One specifically, it's like cheaper. I get the Ultimate, so I've got it on both, so it's like $18 a month or something. But even that, I'm like, this is a steal.
Yeah, because it's 120 a year for Game Pass, and essentially Starfield should be $120 game.
Yeah, I did see that they've taken away the $1 little trial that you can get to it now just before
really?
Starfield is released, which is a little bit like, did you really need to do that? But I'm also like, I get it. Like, they're probably losing a bit of money on Starfield, but very cool that like, I don't have to worry about buying that. As you said, marriage is expensive, life is expensive. I've been going through a bunch of medical stuff recently, and so I have had to pay for a bunch of that. And so I'm like glad I don't have to pay for another $100 game. It's very good. Very good. Speaking of probably decent sized games, they've said this one's going to be a little bit smaller. Josh, your next game.
Yeah. On October 5th, the day before PAX, which I'm kind of annoyed about. Because that could have been a really good weekend to just sit down and play Assassin's Creed Mirage. Very, very excited. Love my Assassin's Creed games. Yeah, just I
not much more to say on it, is it?
I don't have much else to say. I'm annoyed that it is playable earlier than they said, because I will be very busy the weekend that it comes out. But that's fine. So excited for this game.
Very keen to see how it is received, because obviously they're going back to an older Assassin's Creed formula. Keen to see if people still like that, or if we're suddenly like, actually, these weren't as good as we remembered. Because personally, when I've gone back to older Assassin's Creed games, I'm like, I'm not sure these hold up quite as well as we all think they do. So
I heard about that for the ETTO collection.
Yeah.
And I have refused to go back. I'm like, I'm going to remember that how I remember that.
I think that's wise. Well, we don't need to talk about that too much more, but what we do need to talk about is the day of October 20th, Josh. Because someone up in the heavens, someone somewhere, maybe in the hells, has decided that we're going to experience the pain of two giant releases on October 20th. I mean, both games we're very excited about. Spider-Man 2, need we say much more, Josh? No.
Very keen. Been
Spider-Man
hanging
2.
out for more Spider-Man.
Spider-Man freaking 2. Edo will talk more about Spider-Man 2. That's all we need to say.
Will it ever? My goodness.
That is out on October 20th. Every one of us will be playing that. It's super exciting. Can't wait to jump back into those games. They're so damn good. The other game, speaking of big deals, Super Mario Bros. 2D platformer. There's another one, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Which you and I watched the direct for this, and we were with Will. And we were all a little bit. I think the mood was down on the evening and everything, but we were a little bit like, eh. But I think both of us, the more we've looked at this game, are like, this actually looks quite cool and interesting, and they're messing with the Mario formula a little bit. So,
because it's multiple multiple playable characters too.
Yeah,
I think you can like be Peach and
Daisy,
different characters and stuff. And
which
Daisy.
is a big deal. Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely.
So,
yeah, it's Mario. We don't need to say much more about it. It's funny because I built it up like it's this big thing. You know what Mario and Spider-Man are, of course. You don't need to know too much more about that, but that is what I'm keen for. That is the interesting one. We're talking about paying for games. I'm like, I probably buy Spider-Man and then I get Mario a little bit later, like maybe in the holidays or something, and still play that. Because I don't think I can cop. Those will be two fully priced games, and I'm not sure I can cop that in a full day. But I do definitely want to play both of those before the end of the year. So
I'm gonna have to work this one out probably with Maxine, because she grew up with Mario. Not that she's like hugely huge on Mario, but she loves a bunch of the Mario games and stuff. So I feel like when we live together, we're going to play a bunch of the Marios. I really want to introduce her to Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
I think she's going to love that, and I'm very excited to go back to it again because that game freaking rules. But yeah, I feel like... But I also recently threw her into Spider-Man 1. Set it on the second easiest difficulty as someone who, she does not play games much, especially big 3D games like that. And hasn't really played games like that for a long, long time. I threw her in. She got up to, I'm blanking on his name. The big guy.
Kingpin.
Fisk. Yes. Thank you. I got up to that boss fight and was not able to do it very quickly. And sort of, we had to go do some other things, so we stopped. But she'll jump back in. So I think she'd be very keen for both of these. So we're going to have to sort out which one we get first. I would say Spider-Man 2 as well. I'm more excited for that, but
yeah, totally. I think it'll probably be Spider-Man for both of us. But maybe look, there's 2 people in your house. Maybe you'll buy both. That's two different people. Maybe play 2 different games. Who knows? But yeah, moving on because we don't talk about those 2 for too much longer. I've lost my mouse cursor on my screen. There we go. It's back. Yes, you're next, I think.
Yes. So my next one, I've just always... There's so many game series in history that I never got to play. And the fact that a bunch of them are like getting re-released and stuff, and not even necessarily updated, but just available to play and able to be played much easier on current hardware. I'm very excited to play Metal Gear Solid: The Master Collection, Volume 1.
Yeah.
I feel like I would be very into these games. Like just cool, action, stealthy action adventure games.
Totally. This is a series I've always wanted to get into as well, but haven't. Yeah. So maybe look, not around. I'm not going to buy it around that time. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think this will be late. Yeah, this will be much later. But
yeah.
I'm very keen to experience this and try it out sometime.
This is definitely if I can nab it in a sale, I might do that because I agree. That's a good one. That's a good one. My one, which I would never have expected was going to be a thing, one that I'm very excited for and Will is very excited for, is Ghost Runner 2. And I just didn't expect that this would exist. Ghost Runner felt like a niche game that Will and I both really loved, but no one else did. I feel like I saw no one talk about Ghost Runner. But yeah, we found out that this is coming out September 26th. No, it's not September, October. Oh my goodness. And it is going to have vehicular combat, which the previous game was all about samurai, super fast-paced samurai slashing. This one has vehicles as well.
Very cool. Cool addition.
Yeah, just excited for more Ghost Runner. It's just it's a super cool like cyberpunk aesthetic kind of game. There's cool sword slashy. There's cool jumping. It's all kind of like time trials. There's not really many more ways to describe it other than it's really cool and rad. It's a cool and rad game. Cool and rad people.
I never played it, but I got a friend of mine into this game.
Interesting.
While Will and I were living together. We had a friend stay for a couple of days for the F1.
Yeah.
And he was just hanging out on Monday, I think, while we were working.
Yeah.
And he went out for a bit and came back, and I was like, oh, if you want, I'll chuck on, a game I think you'll really like, Ghost Runner. And he's like, yeah, sure. And then he went home, bought it, and platinumed it. Loved it so much. And I've never even touched it. So, yes. Oh, maybe I've touched it. I might have played it at Will's at some point when he was getting into it. Yeah. But I do have it and I do want to play it. So that's a fair call. For the totally. Of that.
And I mean, the trailer we're watching seems to be quite lore heavy. I don't remember the lore of this game. I just remember it was so fun to play. Like it's super fast paced. You're just like dashing in between stuff, feeling like a total badass. And it seems like they're really like amping it up, which I didn't really think was possible because the first game was already very amped up. But it seems like it's very like wide open play spaces and stuff.
And the visuals are just unreal for an indie game.
This is the other thing. This was a gorgeous... Ghost Runner 1 was a gorgeous game when it first came out.
For its time, it was like...
Yeah. I mean, I remember that one made my PC struggle. And I streamed the whole game, and my PC was not happy that I did that. But yeah, so it seems like they, again, have amped that up a little bit. And yeah, super keen for that. And that it's so unexpected, but that was one I'll definitely see if I can pick up right around then as well, because like I want to get into that as soon as I possibly can. Then the day after, which we've both got on our list as well, and this is probably one that I will also wait a little bit to get to. I would like to get to before the end of the year, but as we've talked about, the year's stacking up, might not happen. Alan Wake 2. Yes. Josh, have you played the original Alan Wake? I can't remember.
I have not, but I did get it. I think they gave it out on PS Plus. A couple of months ago, maybe.
They did.
Yep. So
they gave out the remaster.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I do want to jump in and try that. But I loved Control.
Yeah, totally.
Control was stunning. I loved that game so much. And
Me
the fact
too.
that they're in the same universe, I need to jump in.
And I actually feel like obviously I haven't played the first Alan Wake. I may not even play it before this one, just because from what I can tell, you can jump in pretty easily. Sure. I feel like this is probably... First Alan Wake was a long time ago. This is probably going to take more notes from Control than Alan Wake, but obviously with a slightly more horror vibe that I think they're going for with this. And I think kind of meshing those two together... Another game that just looks freaking gorgeous. Every trailer I've watched of this, I'm like, this is stunning. Control was another one that was like a graphical showcase, so I'm sure this is just going to be fantastic to look at and everything. But yeah, it's probably another one of those ones that'll shift a little bit, but I would really like to give it a go. I've also been getting into horror games a bit more this year, so I'd like to, really continue with that. I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about it?
Not really. I was just going to say I hadn't thought about the horror aspect of it really, but Max has started putting down a bunch of horror movies on our to-watch list. So maybe she'll be keen to jump into Alan Wake 1 and 2.
Totally. Well, the other thing, just so I remembered as you're talking about that, about this game, that they've said is it's basically you're playing as like a detective for a lot of it, and you're kind of piecing together a corkboard with string and stuff, and then you can like go into different parts from the corkboard, and it's like seems like a super cool, interesting gameplay concept that we don't have a lot of detective games out there, so I'm keen for that. And then on I think the next one we both have November 3rd. The follow-up to the best game ever, WarioWare Smooth Moves. WarioWare Move It, the Switch version.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm so keen for this. Oh, man, I love Smooth Moves. I used to play it all the time, just by myself at home.
One of my first gaming loves, for sure, was WarioWare Smooth Moves.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And just more of that.
Yeah, the WarioWare they put out on Switch a couple of years ago was all right. But it wasn't really using the Joy-Con, like it didn't feel like it was using the full potential of the Switch as well as it could. I can't even remember what it was called. But this is very much, they're selling it as a sequel to Smooth Moves, so I think it can only be good, Josh. It can only be good.
Absolutely.
There's nothing like waggling a remote to weird WarioWare screens.
That's right. And it's a Nintendo game. Like,
totally.
They basically don't go wrong.
Speaking of Nintendo games that don't go wrong, the one that maybe... people thought might have gone wrong, but didn't really, and is coming back. I don't know. Super Mario RPG is getting a remake, full like glow up in modern graphic style. The Square Enix and Nintendo collaboration from way back in the day is finally coming to modern consoles, and it looks very pretty.
It does.
But yeah, people now go back and talk about this like this was a fantastic game. So, and I feel like I'd never heard of it until like 2 years ago, and then all of a sudden all the nostalgia people came out and like, Super Mario RPG is great. I feel that. Yeah, I feel like it's got a cult following for sure. But I definitely I'm super into this. We both have this on our list as well. I
this may also get pushed a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
Perhaps,
it's one of
depending on what I'm still trying to catch up on and play.
But it's November 17th though, so there's a bit more space. But yeah, no, I can see the same for me, where I think it'd probably get pushed a little bit. The last one I have on my list, which doesn't have a specific release date, but the developers have said will come out this year. And I hope it still does, because I do a video game fantasy thing with some people, and I picked this, and if it doesn't come out this year, I don't get any points for it. This is by Yacht Club Games, the developer of Shovel Knight. Their next game, Mina the Hollower, which is a very classic 8-bit style Zelda dungeon crawler, it seems. Obviously, Shovel Knight, Game Boy style, yes. Shovel Knight, fantastic game. And this looks it can't be bad, Josh. Right?
It can't. No, absolutely not. It
plays
looks phenomenal.
A little mouse.
Yeah, it looks like the Game Boy Mario game, Zelda games.
Zelda, yeah.
For sure. Looks so good.
And knowing Shovel Knight was one of those games similar to like The Messenger and stuff, where it kind of played with the fact that it was a retro game and knew it was and that kind of thing. So I expect some similar kind of stuff there. So yeah, this is slated to come out this year, and in the past this developer has been very good at hitting those slated. So even if it could be a December one, but this is the only one I kind of put in because it didn't have a release date, because I was like, I'm pretty sure this will just like suddenly get dropped. But maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe this is the next year.
Because you've brought this up, I'm now adding a game to my other list.
Oh, no.
just real quick.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Because I never got around to it. But
that's totally fine.
I can talk about it.
Cool. That's all the coming up games. There's a lot of them. We have enough games to play there, right?
We do. We need to fly through this next one too.
Yeah,
this has been long.
Totally. I'll just go through. How about we go through I'll go through my list. You go through your list, not including the ones we cross over. No, let's talk about the ones we cross over now. I'll cut out this bit where I'm working it out. We'll do the ones we cross over, and then
and then maybe like one at a time, one each.
Yeah, totally.
Back and forth. Cool.
So first of all, there's plenty of games there that we will play. We might not even have time to get back to any of these games that we said we want to get back to, but we've got a list of them anyway. And to start off with, there's a couple games that we both put on our list of games we want to get back to that came out this year. The first one is Dave the Diver. This is one I've started. You haven't played at all yet?
I have not yet. No. This was originally going to be the first episode of ETTO Sidequest was going to be on Dave the Diver, but we gave ourselves 2 or 3 days to play it.
Yeah, which is it's like a 30-hour game. I'm probably about halfway through it, I would say. But I'm not certain I will get back to this, is the other thing. I feel like I've maybe hit a point where I'm like, maybe that's the point where I never pick this up again. Not because it's a bad game, but just because I kind of hit a lack of motivation point for it.
Yeah, sure.
But if it's a very easy game to dip into and do like an hour of gameplay of, which is kind of how I've been playing it so far. So that may be my thing. But it's a great game, great little fishing-based RPG.
Yeah, nice.
Cool. Speaking of fishing-based games, I'll quickly mention it, and then we'll get to the other one we talked about. I do want to go back and finish Dredge at some point, which obviously you worked on, Josh. I've got it on my Xbox. I played a decent amount of it, but I just need to do that last little bit, and I really want to because it's a great game, fantastic game. But the other game that we both have on our list, Metroid Prime Remaster, which came out earlier this year on Nintendo Switch. We both... I think we've talked about it multiple times this year where we're like, I really want to play that. Everyone says it's so good, but have not found the time yet. So yeah, I don't know. I've never played any Metroid Prime game. We both loved Metroid Dread a couple of years ago, obviously, which was the first new 2D Metroid in a while. And with Metroid Prime 4 coming out at some point, I feel like I need to break the duck with this first, you know?
Break the duck?
Break the duck? Is that a saying?
Never heard
or did I make that up?
I don't know. I've never heard of breaking the duck.
I feel like that is a saying, but
interesting.
Anyway,
cool. I'll take it. That's fine. Yeah. I'm super keen for this. Metroid is another series that I think I could very much be into, but I just never got to it. I'm really hoping that they keep releasing the Metroid Prime remasters until Metroid Prime 4 is done and released.
Yeah.
So that they're accessible. But yeah, I heard nothing but good things about this, and that it ran well, that it looked great.
Totally.
And this is going to be my main Japan flight game. Like, I haven't
So
even
you're committing
purchased
to
it
this
yet.
one.
I'm gonna be,
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
Cool.
So it'll be that first, and then my other, just to transition over.
Yeah.
Unless you have more to say.
No,
about
no. That's all good.
My other game made by Yacht Club Games.
The one that Josh
I've
had.
been yes. Yeah. That I've been wanting to play for such a long time, along with Blasphemous, is Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
Very, very keen. I really want to get to this. I know that there's so many DLCs that are just included in the Treasure Trove collection, whatever it's called. And yeah, I'm very, very keen to jump in and give this a go.
I've also never played this game. Again, it didn't make it on my list because it's not a 2023 game and Josh cheated. But
I did.
I do want to play this at some point.
So
it's a good one.
I've got it on Switch.
Yeah.
I think most of my gaming, obviously, while I'm traveling around Japan, will be my Switch, the most portable thing ever. It's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be jumping into a few different games. Metroid Prime first, and then Shovel Knight or Blasphemous or something like that. But yeah, I'll have some bigger, like they're quite long games too, from what I can tell.
You may not even have time to finish them.
Probably
Who
not.
knows? You'll be doing things in
Japan. Yeah.
All right. Next up for me, another game I want to get back to is The Space for the Unbound. This is a game that came out earlier this year from an Indonesian developer, and just seems like a very heartfelt little indie game. Pete talked about it on Back Pocket when it came out, and it's just gotten like crazy good reviews. It's got like a pixel art style, but it's one of those games that apparently has one of those weird massive twists in the middle, and I'm excited. I love a game with a weird massive twist.
Yeah, nice.
And yeah, just got rave reviews when it did come out, so keen for that. Josh, what else are you keen for?
Yeah, I'm keen for The Storyteller. Comes out in March. Came out in March.
Sorry, I set you up there poorly. That's fine.
It's all good. Yes, this is the game where there's a story being told, and you get like a caption up the top.
Yes.
And then you got to place like characters and scenarios in kind of like different comic panels to make up that story, and it's a bit of a puzzle game. Things like that. I think this would be really fun to play with Maxine.
Totally.
I'm really keen to sit down and play some different, unique games with her to show her like what games can be.
Totally. And this one is coming out on Netflix Games.
Is it?
Yes.
There you go. That's a good choice. Good choice.
Yeah,
Netflix.
totally. Definitely is the one that you can very easily swipe and kind of. That's I think that's coming out on there soon, so that could be a good way to play it with her for sure.
Nice. So yeah, that's one.
Yeah, nice. My next one that I wanted to mention was Venba, which is a little indie game. Came out very recently, I think. It's on Game Pass. I have it downloaded, and it's basically a game. I don't even know how to describe it. I'm just going to bring up the trailer, but it's based on someone's like lived experience as a South Indian person, and it's about you kind of just cook stuff. You cook food.
Like a cooking mama?
Yeah. They call it a narrative cooking game. A narrative cooking game where you play as Indian mum who immigrates to Canada with her family in the 1980s. So yeah. It's apparently a short little game and like very heartwarming and stuff. I've got a lot of heartwarming games I need to get back to. I need positive vibes.
This looks really cute. I'm adding this to my list.
Yeah. And yeah, as I said, on Game Pass, so awesome. Literally can download it.
Nice.
Very, very, very much want to get back to that one. That's probably one I might even play this week or next week, because before things get hectic, as we kind of talked about. Awesome. Next for you, Josh.
One that I don't know if I'll get to it this year, probably not.
Yeah, this is bold.
But one that, is definitely on that list because I loved the first one is Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
So good.
I just totally missed it. I feel like I went away. I think I went to Sydney for like a week and a half or something.
Yeah.
The week that this came out. So I never got around to playing it.
Zelda came out like a few
years
after.
Zelda, yeah, that's right. That's true.
No, this is one game that I powered through knowing Zelda was going to take up my life. I was like, I have to play this quickly. Will and I recorded a podcast for it. I don't think it ever went out, but Will and I both quite enjoyed that game. And yeah, I think it's very good iteration on the first game, and I think makes a lot of improvements. It's not perfect, but I think in a year of a lot of good games, it's still up there with them. So cool. Very definitely. I don't think you'll get to that this year, Josh, but definitely at some point in the future, I'm sure you will.
Do you think you're going to get into your next game, then?
No. This is I mentioned earlier with Lies of P that I tend to, particularly with Souls-like games, I pick them up. And then I maybe don't play that much of them, but I like get a loose feeling for them. And I feel like I will very much get a loose feeling for Wo Long Fallen Dynasty, which came out earlier this year by the developers of Nioh.
Also Game Pass.
Yeah, also on Game Pass. I've had this downloaded since it came out. Nice. Being like, I'm going to play it. And I'm going to play it. I don't know how long I will play it for, but I just want to at least give it a go. Because, like, again, the setting of it is great. It seems set in, like, I think it might be feudal Japan or China or something. I'm not entirely sure. But similar vibes to Sekiro, which is a game I absolutely loved. My thing that I prefer in the Souls-like games is a good parry mechanic, which the Dark Souls games don't have as much, but Sekiro was all about the parry mechanic. So this one, nice. We'll see if I get into it. Yeah, I'm not convinced I'll get much beyond an initial playthrough, but I at least want to dip into this one before the year is over. Because maybe, who knows, maybe I get hooked and I don't play any of these other games. Because that would be what would happen. Cool.
My next one is maybe... It's an interesting one, because I only found out one more thing about it after I...
I know what it is.
Yeah. It's called The Mage Seeker. Came out in April. It just looked like a wicked, like, pixel art action game. But apparently it's a League of Legends spin-off.
Yep, it is. Keep going, sorry.
That's right. I was just about to say, I remember originally watching the trailer for this and writing it down. When I saw this on my list, because I constantly have a list on my phone of games, so that when I'm looking for a new game, I can just look back and go, oh yeah, want to play that, and then like games for this year specifically. And this was on there, and I was like, I don't remember what this is. And then when I looked at it, I'm like, yes, I definitely remember what this is. But did not remember. I say definitely. I didn't remember that it was a LOL spin-off.
Totally. So, Riot Forge, this like Riot's kind of indie development publisher that have been basically getting a bunch of these indie devs in, because this is by the developer of Moonlighter, which was a quite a popular game. They've been getting all these external devs in to basically make games for the League of Legends universe that are like little indie games. So they release them quite frequently. And this one totally also caught my eye. There was also another one recently that came out that was like a 2D platformer. Speaking of 2D platformers, that looked interesting. But yeah, I definitely have heard a couple people talk about Mage Seeker very positively. So yeah. No, that's a good one. Yeah, kind of top-down hack and slash vibe.
Yeah. Looks so sick.
Yeah, I mean, Moonlighter was fantastic from what I heard. I didn't play it, but
that was another game that is on my list, and I always wanted to play, but never got to. So yeah.
The one thing I want to say about these Riot Forge games, you can get League of Legends and Valorant and Runeterra, all their games through Game Pass, and get like access to all the heroes and stuff. I'd love to see them start putting these Riot Forge games on Game Pass, because I feel like they're not getting an audience in any way. The Game Pass, like, I would play all of these games if they went on Game Pass, but I'm not really... There's something about them that is just a little bit like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 about them, that they're not quite exactly the game that I would want them to be. That I'm like, if these were on Game Pass, I would 100% give it a go, but my first impression of them is always not quite good enough. I would love to see them, because they've already got a relationship with Xbox, kind of like experiment with that. But definitely this is the best looking of them, I would say, of all the ones I've seen. So
yeah, fair. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one, Josh. Speaking of good ones, another good game that you may not have heard of, which I played in Steam Next Fest, is called Crime O'Clock. Speaking of earlier, we don't have many detective games. This is a little detective game, but it's much more in the vein of your Where's Wally's, your Hidden Figures, where you are kind of looking down on top of a area. It's all in black and white, and then you're kind of tracking through a murder, and you can like go back in time in the area you're looking down on and find little pieces of the case. Very cute little art style. Seemed to have some interesting little story going from the little bit I played of the demo. But yeah, it's like a very cool concept. If it was just Where's Wally, it would be cool enough. But then you're like using these rewind mechanics to go back in time to try and find like where that person was at a certain time. And it was a real surprise for me in Next Fest. So I want to check this out at some point. It's only recently come out, so that's a good one to get back to. And just while we're on Next Fest, real quick, the other one I want to talk about is On Guard, which is a sword fighting game. Is the best way of describing it.
Yes, Will has also been playing this. He mentioned it on the catch up this week.
Totally. Has he been enjoying it?
Yes.
Okay, very good, very good. Because I'm glad. Another one I played the demo of, and I was like, this is super fun. I played through the whole demo. Super cool. Like, I got an idea of the concept. It's the entire premise of the game is all about like really nailing down the sword fighting mechanic and like the parry. And I talked about how I like parries. This is all about parrying.
This is it.
And using your rapier. That's what they are.
Fight with panache.
Yeah, in like a Spanish. What's the conquistador? That's the word. You're one of them. And it's kind of
Zorro.
in that kind of environment. Yeah, it's very the flamboyant. Everyone's flamboyant, and
it looks really cool.
Yeah, and it's just like the little sandbox, the way you can approach fights in different ways is very fun.
I love that one.
Totally.
They're like throwing a pot or hitting a pot or something, and it bounces off everybody's heads.
Yeah, and I think the thing I was impressed about from this demo was just that it felt super clean and polished and refined already. So I was like, I'm cool. I'm keen to see what a full game of this was, because it was very much just a linear level they were taking me through, being like, this is how you play the game, this is how you do the sword fighting, and I'd be curious to see what the game itself is. Swashbuckling sword fighting game is what they call it, which is a great description.
Amazing. Nice. I'm gonna do two real quick.
Yep, all good.
Just because I want to play more Diablo, I want to get through more post-game content. That's pretty much it. So I'm going to be jumping in and out of that. But I'm going to jump down. I have a bunch of PSVR 2 games that I forgot about because...
Josh forgot he had a PSVR 2.
Yeah, it's in a drawer and I don't look at it.
Yeah.
So, yes, I really want to jump in and play through these. Very, very keen. So maybe I'll just charge through. They're all pretty quick. So I want to go through Horizon Call of the Mountain, which came out in February. And yeah, so it's the Horizon Zero Dawn VR game. I played maybe 20, 30 minutes of it and loved what I played, but I need to jump in and play more and get through the story. What the Bat, which is made by the people that do What the Golf, and now What the Car is also out. What the Bat, released on PC last year, but released in February this year on PSVR 2. Ben, I've got to have you over to play this. It's so freaking good.
Totally.
So
At some point, we will definitely do that.
Released in March, Tentacular, also for VR, obviously. But basically, you play a sea monster.
When I saw this name, I was hoping it was that, and I'm so glad it's that. That's so good. Yeah.
So you play a sea monster, but you're a good sea monster, and there's a whole town that has sort of adopted you as their child, and they're like, now that you're 16, you need to find a job on the island. And so you go around and you try your tentacle at various tasks and jobs around, and it's just very fun, very playful, very
nice.
very cute. And then just released this month at time of recording, and one that I haven't jumped into yet, and I'm dying to, and maybe I will this week, just so I can get it out of my system before I get married and I can have played it, is Skater VR.
Yeah.
I haven't skated in over a month. I've been forbidden from skateboarding in case I got injured before the wedding.
Yeah.
So I'm hanging out for it. I've been doing a lot of like fingerboarding and stuff like that, and watching a lot of videos, which I already do, but probably
how does the
more
feet
than I
bit
used
of
to.
this work? Because you got the hands.
So it's all the hands.
Okay.
So you like to push.
Okay.
Sort of you do that, and the right hand is your right foot, and the left hand is your left foot.
Okay.
So like you know, to pop, I think you push down, and then to flick with your front foot, you like, you know,
I see.
swing in different directions. So
very cool.
I think it will actually, if you understand how skateboarding tricks work, it will probably help with that.
Yeah.
That skill will probably help with the game, and potentially vice versa. I'm very intrigued to know whether the timing in the game will help me get my timing on an actual skateboard, and those skills, even though it's, you know, feet to hands, but doing the sort of movements and stuff, and understanding how to do various tricks better in the game might help me in real life. So very, very keen to jump into that and just experience more PSVR 2 and VR in general.
Totally. That sounds great. The final game I'm going to talk about that I want to get back to, which is not really get back to, it only just came out. Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. Great name. Apparently,
great name.
This game is fantastic and very, very hard in classic From Software fashion. So it's one I probably will sit down with at a time when I can deal with that, because right now I could not deal with the stress of that game. So at some point I will get this game and I will play it, and I don't know, just mechs are cool, Josh. I want to mess around in a mech. That's all I have to say about it. And yeah, reviews were out for it. It seems great. So keen to get back to that. Before we wrap up, we've got to quickly power through some community answers they had. We asked them to give us one game that was coming out and one game that they missed. So what we just went through, but a lot shorter.
Yes.
So we'll do
one each?
Yeah, one each. So first up, I'm going to do Lucrius. Baldur's Gate 3, that's it. That's my plans. I didn't even mention that in this, but I'm still playing Baldur's Gate 3, so I've got to finish that.
That is fair.
But yeah,
what was the game that we spoke about with Lucrius? Oh, so Sea of Stars. He's going to be playing that.
Totally. Of course.
He forgot. BMAC said he read this twice before posting. If you remember last time he totally messed up. Read it wrong. But BMAC has said Starfield is the one this year that I'm intrigued to see if can live up to the hype. And going back to Company of Heroes 3 on his pile of shame, and he needs to fix that.
That's a classic BMAC game right there.
Very good.
BMAC loves those kind of games. Lawcat technically isn't out until next week because I got the deluxe edition, but Baldur's Gate 3, I assume they mean out on PS5, is what I'm most looking forward to. And Spider-Man 2, I don't feel like I missed anything. I don't play a huge amount of games except the ones I'm super excited about, so I don't really miss ones. It's a good answer. I mean, if you don't feel like you missed any, that's good. I mean, I wish I felt like that. I wish I could be that person, Josh.
Yeah, right? Oh, man.
Yeah.
Joshy, one game yet to come out, Spider-Man 2, though I'll probably wait till January sales to see if it drops in price. Wow, Joshy. I don't know how you do that.
Wait for this last
Spider-Man
sentence.
2. One game I missed so far I want to get back to, nothing. 2023 has been pretty meh game-wise.
Ludicrous statement from Joshy.
Joshy, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
My goodness.
Incredible, but, all power to you. If you believe that, listen to this podcast, though. Oh, dear. We love you, Joshy. Dolphin Pants. Oh, no, I scrolled up and I selected everything. Dolphin Pants. Yet to come out, but will be out soon after the release of this episode. Mortal Kombat 1, just a big old fighting game fan, and Mortal Kombat has been one of my favorite series. I didn't even put that in there, but I do like Mortal Kombat. That's one of the ones. I'm not good enough at fighting games, so I'll probably just play that when it comes to a Game Pass or something, but I'm excited for you, Dolphin Pants, knowing how much you love fighting games. Games I missed.
Didn't John Cena just come to Mortal Kombat 1? Didn't he just get announced?
Well, he's coming as Peacemaker. Yes.
Yes, as Peacemaker. Yes, that's the one. Sorry. Yep.
Yep, totally.
Insane.
Yep. That sounds great, actually. I totally want to play some. Game I've missed. I didn't miss it, but I need to go back and play a lot more Tears of the Kingdom. Don't we all? Actually, we don't. You and I don't.
We don't.
We did the whole podcast.
There's those.
Josh, you don't.
There's those final quests that I didn't do.
Josh,
what's the mayor quest, Ben? I didn't finish it.
I've let it go. I've let it go, and you should too.
I'll probably let it go. There's too many games, obviously.
Absolutely.
It's been a 2-hour podcast talking about them. Dion says, I'm working through all the games on PS Plus catalog that I missed in the last 10 years while I wasn't playing games. So whatever comes out this year, I'll get to in 10 years' time. Incredible. So that means you haven't been playing games, but you've been subscribed to PS Plus and you've been collecting those games. That's very interesting. I guess I kind of do that too, because I also subscribe to PS Plus to get the free games, but I don't play them.
Yeah.
But I play a lot of games.
My PS Plus subscription lapsed this week, and I'm waiting till there's a sale because I want to get it again. But I want to get the extra version where you get all the games, like Game Pass, but on a sale. So I'm waiting.
Yeah,
I know there'll be a sale. Nice. So I've got a few games that I won't get back to till whenever that happens. But that's fine because there's plenty of games to play. Laughing Seal, I'm working through all the I need to finish these games that I started this year, or at least make a dent in. That sentence may have made sense, but it's been a long day. Diablo 4, Tilu Part 1, Dead Space Remake. Played 2 out of the 3 of them, and 2 out of the 3 of them are great. And Tilu Part 1, I assume, is very good based on what I've heard. So that's good. Those are good choices. And I'm locked in to play Starfield since I was gifted a pre-order and very much looking forward to it. Hell yeah. And I'm thinking of buying Scorn and Lies of P when they came out on PS5. That'll be me for the year. Yeah, nice. That sounds like a good year.
Gifted a pre-order. That's awesome.
That is very cool. And the last one, Josh.
The last one, Violet Wind, says, looking forward to The Wandering Village, though no guarantee that it's coming this year. I don't think I've heard of this. Do you know this game?
It's like a village builder, like a village building game, but it's on the top of a big, giant dinosaur monster thing, and you just kind of keep walking along.
Cool.
It's super cool. I've got it. I've actually got it on PC. I think someone gifted it to me at one point. I have had it downloaded. I want to check it out at some point. But I think it's been in early access up until now, so not sure when that one's coming out. But that's very cool.
And we'll go back to On Guard at some point. Game looks fun.
Sure does. Chat about that already.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, Josh. That was a big beefy one. I'm sure I'll be able to chop some bits out of it. But
every podcast is big and beefy. All of our podcasts are so long.
Josh, we made the mistake of making a podcast about video games, for one, which there's a lot to talk about, and then doing it only every 2 weeks, which then means there's even more to talk about. But I hope you enjoy them, guys. I hope you just put it on, have a good listen, maybe do something in the background. I hope you enjoy our voices and us talking about video games, because we're going to keep doing it in more episodes of the ETTO Sidequest, including next time, where we talk about something that we don't know yet, because we've got to record it next week because Josh is going away. But it'll probably be some kind of big topic that we might not grab viewer comments on for that one. We might just do our own little quick chat about something. It may be a small little episode, which is fine because this one's beef. This is 2 weeks worth. We might just do a tiny little chunk for the next one. In fact, I think that's exactly what we're going to do. Cool. But yeah, until next time, Josh.
Quest completed.
You did it. There was no pause in between there at all.
10
I cut
XP.
it down. 10. Only 10?
Only 10.
Damn. Brutal.
This is one of those side quests that's just, you do so much and then you get nothing and you're like, what was the point?
Yeah.
This is what this podcast is.
What's the point?